Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and let's jump right into it, guys. Got a little bit of a later start today, so I can't go as long as I would prefer. But hey, guys, we're going to definitely talk about a couple things. I'll get you in and out, and then, hey, we'll look and see if you have any questions at the end. So let me preface it with that, guys. I'll wait for the end to look and see if you have any questions. So let me try to get through some of my topics. Now, basically, guys, what we're going to talk about today is the recent comments by Mike Tomlin in regards to, the New England loss and building your team and things of that nature. We're also going to talk about, of course, Ben Roethlisberger still up in the air with the retirement, talk. We'll talk a little bit about Landry Jones and the comfort that the Steelers seem to be showing in him. And we'll talk about Martavis Bryant, guys, his, current situation. Today is the day. We got to hear something. Supposedly today is the deadline. So we'll see. And then I'll also talk about, a little bit more of the draft outlook as far as, a couple more names that I'm hearing, as far as potential draft picks. Now, let's start off right away, guys, with Mike Tomlin's comments. Now, it's funny because Tomlin basically said what I have been saying the whole time. It's basically what I said after the New England loss, what I said probably a week or so even after that as well. It's just this simple, guys. Basically, in a nutshell, Tomlin said, listen, we're not going to build our team just to beat New England. We're going to go with a philosophy and a principle, right? Now, within his philosophy and the principles that they're following, it is to build, the team that can compete or beat a team like New England. He specifically stated that they're definitely looking to be able to do more man-to-man coverage. He also acknowledged the fact that they just wasn't able to do that. They just was not able to do that the way they would like to against a New England, which usually ends up you having to go into a zone coverage. But what ends up happening when you're in zone, it does buy you a little bit of more, a little bit more time. But if the pressure don't get there, a quarterback will pick you apart, whether it's Tom Brady or any other nice quarterback, not a great quarterback like Tom Brady. But anybody else who's even decent, give them enough time, they're going to pick your zone apart if you don't get pressure. And that's what Mike Tomlin specifically stated. They were unable to get pass rush. That's what he said against New England. Le'Veon Bell wasn't healthy enough to continue, as well as they were unable to be successful going man-to-man when they attempted to go man. So they resorted basically to, wishing a prayer. Play zone. Hopefully the zone gives you some time to let the pressure get there, and it didn't happen. But basically that's what he talked about, guys. So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. For you Steelers fans, of course, we need to try to compete with the New England or any other team in the NFL. People always throw that around. They always say, oh, but look at New England. Oh, look at Bill Belichick. But that's one team that everybody talks about. There's 31 other teams in the league. Obviously, everyone is trying to be in a position where they can compete or beat a team like New England, opposite the AFC, if you're in the NFC, and vice versa. There's plenty of other teams who are looking at it that way. But that's just how it is. New England has been one of the best teams in the last decade, along with, teams like Pittsburgh has been in the playoff hunt. Baltimore has poked their head in there every now and then. Broncos, there's certain teams that just seem to be, they're always in some type of contention or at least getting to the playoffs to have a chance. Luckily enough, the Steelers have been one of those teams primarily offensively. So now we definitely got to get it to a point where the defense can match. But like I said, guys, it's just that simple. You listen to what the coach talks about, and that's what they're trying to do. Yes, that answers the question. They are trying to actively go out and get a man cover type of guy or guys in the secondary that can do both. They want that versatility. So it's not that the Steelers just don't want to do that. They didn't think they had the personnel to do it this past year. And even when they attempted to do it, it just didn't work out the way they planned. So it's good to hear the coach acknowledge the things that we all thought by looking at that game. So obviously that's what they're going to do going into the draft. He even spoke on the draft. He said, listen, everybody knows there's no secret. The Steelers build their team through the draft. That's how they do it. That's how they've always done it. And that's just what you can come to expect, guys. So there it is. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on and talk about Ben Roethlisberger. Now, it's interesting because Coach Tomlin also acknowledged the fact that they need to, be more serious or pay a little more attention to the quarterback situation. So again, I expect that they're going to do something in the draft. I really do. I really think that they're going to go after a quarterback. Not sure who. I'm really not sure who, guys. I would have to really, look at some film and things like that. I'm not that familiar this year with the quarterbacks. I don't think there's really any, top tier guys out there, in my opinion. I've heard, links to what's the guy's name? Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, I believe his name is. I've heard links to him as far as, guys saying that there may be an interest there that Pittsburgh could go after him. We'll see, because I don't think any of these guys, too many of these guys are going to fly off the board too early. I mean, of course, you got Trubisky and you got Deshaun Watson, which you would assume would be gone well before the Steelers would even go after that type of quarterback. And honestly, even if it came down to one of those two guys, let's just pretend for a moment. Let's say the Steelers needed a first round or an early draft pick for quarterback. Let's say Roethlisberger does retire. Who is the guy? I mean, a lot of people are saying Deshaun Watson, but why are you saying that? Are you saying that just because of his athletic ability? Or are you looking at his complete game? Because you have to still consider the type of offense that the Steelers run. Who knows? The Trubisky kid could be a better fit. I don't know. I'm just saying. He's not necessarily the best athlete. We saw that in Cordell Stewart. You know what I mean? And was he a great Steelers quarterback? I would have to say no. But that's just my opinion. But it is what it is, guys. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to grab a quarterback. And, we'll make things happen later rounds if necessary. We'll see how everything pans out. So, guys, let's talk about some other things. Again, going back to the Ben Roethlisberger situation, Mike Tomlin also gave his opinion on Landry Jones. Now, when you take a look at it from this perspective, I can't believe I'm even saying this, man, but I understand why they signed Landry Jones. Landry Jones hasn't been the player that a lot of us Steelers fans would have thought he would have been, with being in his fourth year. He just finished his fourth year. Obviously, we re-signed him. But you have to take this in consideration. Let's be honest for a moment. You have to look at it like this. He knows the system. He hasn't had many opportunities. I mean, I think a lot of guys expect a whole lot out of backups, right? You expect a Dak Prescott, right? But Dak Prescott, he did a good job. He was a great manager of the team, did a great job, didn't put up huge numbers, made smart decisions, protect the ball for the most part, did a good job. But that only comes every now and then. You know what I mean? Or a Ben Roethlisberger who takes over for Maddox, or a Tom Brady taking over for Drew Bledsoe. But that doesn't happen every single day. So sometimes I don't really understand sometimes what people are looking for in a backup quarterback. Like, first of all, we don't see him play that often. So we don't really know what they can bring to the table. They don't get a lot of opportunity. Now, in the defense of us Steelers fans, Landry Jones didn't show us much in preseasons. So I can understand why all of us were not that favorable of him coming back, but I understand why. Again, if you look at the backup quarterback situation in around the league, there's not a whole lot of teams that have outstanding backups, right? Landry Jones didn't cost much. We got him for exactly what I thought it would be. 2 years, under $6 million, or under $5 million, I believe, or right at $5 million, or was it 4 point something? I can't really remember, but it wasn't that expensive. And I understand it. And if you really pay attention to some of the games he played, even particularly, last season, right? Played well. He played pretty decent against New England. Not well, because he did throw a bad interception to Antonio Brown. But when he played against Cleveland in the last game, he showed something. He even showed the ability to be able to, get a game-winning drive. So I get it. Because it's good to have a guy like that, I guess, on your roster that knows the system. And the Steelers seem to feel like he's progressing more than what we all think. So I'm not too upset about that. Like I said, it didn't cost a whole lot of money. You're going to need another quarterback anyway. I still think the Steelers possibly draft a quarterback and let them compete. Let this guy, then whoever the draft guy is, and Mettenberger and Landry Jones compete, and we'll see what happens. I really think that's gonna be the situation in that regard. But who knows, guys? But let's go on to the next thing, guys. Martavis Bryant. What's going on? What's going on, NFL? Roger Goodell. They said March the 28th was supposed to be the deadline. We haven't heard anything as of yet. Maybe by the end of the day, maybe by the end of the show, maybe we'll hear that he's been reinstated. But who knows? A couple things come to my mind. Why is it taking so long? Why are they waiting until the deadline? That comes to mind. Also, another thing that comes to mind is why are we so, I don't know how to say this, but why are a lot of us sold on the fact that we know he's going to be back? We don't even know that. We can only assume, because let's keep this in mind. This is twice. This was his second time having, an offense as far as, substance abuse. So why are we so locked in saying we know he's going to be back? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. And that's really the reason why I definitely want to know sooner than later. So at least, even as a fan, I can get my mind wrapped around, okay, maybe we have this guy, maybe we don't, right? And again, going back to Tomlin comments, you heard what he said, and some of you guys may have not. But Tomlin said, listen, he's out of our plan until he's back in. And it's plain and simple. So that explains, again, the Justin Hunter signing. Security right there, getting a guy of that stature, speed, potential, things like that. That explains that. But we don't know yet, man. So hopefully today, I heard that even if if they miss the deadline, the commissioner kind of makes his own rules as he goes along. That's what I'm hearing. So it's possible that it could come after today. But supposedly we're supposed to hear today the status of the reinstatement, application from Martavis Bryant. Now, of course, as a fan, guys, I hope he's back, not just for football. I hope the guy is back just for, as a human being. I hope his mind is right. He's been talking and saying all the right things. He's been working out. He's put on weight, and he said he's ready to go. So I hope that not only just as a football player, I hope mentally, in his mind that he's ready to go and all of that stuff is behind him. Because, man, I think the kid could have an outstanding career. We all know the kind of big play potential he brings to the NFL, but just imagine when he really locks in and he becomes that guy opposite Antonio Brown for consecutive seasons. I think it could be something very special there. So I'm hoping for him, again, not just as a fan. Of course, I want that, but even just as a person, I hope he gets reinstated and I hope he's clean, and we'll go from there. Next thing, guys, I wanted to cover. The wide receiver core is going to be very interesting, man. We all already know about Justin Hunter being added. And, some of us don't know whether or not he's going to make the team. When you consider guys like Kobe Hamilton and Sammy Coates, those are going to be guys he's going to compete with. DHB, Haywood Bay. We don't know what's going to happen in that regard. But here's another thing, right? Here's what's very interesting. Coach Tomlin mentioned how, impressed he was with DeMarcus Ayers and how he finished up, during the latter part of the season as far as coming on strong in practice and things like that, getting himself in the game and in game shape and just game ready, and he performed. So there's another receiver that you have to think about. Now, what could happen? Let's keep this in mind. DeMarcus Ayers had to come off of the practice squad last season, right? This is his second season, and if I'm not mistaken, you have up until your second season to remain or go back to the practice squad. So that could be a possibility for them with him again, but we'll see. But that makes the race a little tighter. Again, these are the three guys I think that'll really be competing. Sammy Coates, Kobe Hamilton, Justin Hunter. Because you already know the number one is Antonio Brown. We assume Martavis Bryant, hopefully, I'm not even going to assume, let's just say hopefully Martavis Bryant is back. That's your 1 and 2. The number 3 is going to be Eli Rogers in the slot. And then your fourth receiver, as far as on the outside, Kobe Hamilton, Sammy Coates, Justin Hunter. That's going to be the competition. and possibly DeMarcus Ayers. I don't know. I think DeMarcus Ayers is more of a specialist, so I would see him being more like a complement or a backup slot, with Eli Rogers. So that's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out in camp. To me, the more the merrier. Bring the best out of the guys, and the best guy wins, and there you have it. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, guys, I told you this was going to be a fairly quick show, man. We've quickly gone through this one. The draft again, man. The latest names that I'm hearing, guys, that even some of the Steeler writers, like shout outs again to Dave Bryant and Dave Todd, those guys that do the terrible podcast. Make sure you check them out. But Dave Bryant, he's basically the guy at Steelers Depot. He does a lot of write-ups and articles, and he's done a whole lot of sack compilations, a lot of these players. But then I heard him and Alex Azur, I believe his name is, they were talking about some of the guys that they feel like the Steelers may have a chance at getting, is more likely to get at 30. The two names that keep coming up, man, well, three names now, a new guy, Carl Lawson, Derek Rivers, but then there's this Jordan Willis kid. Now, if you haven't seen him, man, go look at his tape. Jordan Willis, this guy is he's explosive. He's explosive. His name hasn't rung bells, before like everybody else did, but they're saying that, looking at what he did at the Senior Bowl, looking at his combine, performance, he's climbing up the charts. This could be a guy, this could be another guy that's there that they think will be there at 30 that the Steelers will grab. Also, I'm seeing Tack McKinley. His name keeps coming back up as well. Obviously, guys like Hassan Riddick, they're thinking he's not going to be there. So, again, as we get closer to the draft, guys, I'll start giving my thoughts. I'm going to try to do a mock. I'll probably say mock the first 1 or 2 rounds as we get closer. But, I don't have the capacity to do a 7-round mock. I really don't know as far as players. But I will try to do a 7-round, a total draft mock on position. I can do that. But I haven't had the chance to watch all of these players to know who exactly they're going to get. That's why I listen, Steelers Depot and, Daniel Jeremiah and all these guys on the NFL that know this stuff, Mike Mayock, et cetera, Mel Kiper. But here's another one that's popping up, guys, and I've heard this from more than one person. 2nd round. They're thinking that the Steelers will 1st round go pass rushers, what I'm saying. 2nd round, they're thinking possibly corner. And I'm hearing Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson's name is the one that keeps ringing bells. I've seen like multiple people say that's the guy that the Steelers will probably have the opportunity or may have an opportunity to get in the 2nd round. He is a guy that could play in the slot position, So we'll see. So that sounds good to me, man. It sounds very good to me if the Steelers were to go pass rusher first, then maybe address the secondary, whether that be cornerback or safety. I'm going to put the or safety in there because, of course, if that guy Obi is there, the big safety out of Connecticut, if for any reason he is there at 1st or 2nd, you grab him. No offense to Mike Mitchell, but it is what it is. You grab him. And just imagine having a guy like that and Sean Davis both playing in the safety. Crazy. All right, so we'll see, guys. Like I said, this was a very, very quick show, man. In and out, Started a little late today, but again, I didn't want to hold you guys too late. So before we go, man, I don't see that there's too many people actually watching live. Let me see if there's any questions. No, not any questions today, guys. So real quick show, but those are my thoughts. Let's just hope and wish that Martavis Bryant has done what he's supposed to do, and maybe by the end of the day, we'll hear from Roger Goodell. Stop dragging your feet, Roger. Get this done. I know you're busy, but come on, man. How long does it take to say yay or nay? All right, so at least you can put us fans at ease, and of course the organization can be at ease in terms of if they're going to have this dynamic player. And again, man, like I said, it's not just football for me. I hope him as a person has himself together and, go be what you can be. But all right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. For you guys who watch live, I always appreciate that. And, of course, you guys that are going to see it on the archive, I want to thank you in advance because I've noticed that the the numbers for this particular show has grown. I mean, the last show actually got over 500 views. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but this is coming from Terrible Towel Tuesday. I mean, it used to be getting 80 views per show to 100 to now, you know, it's getting up to the 500s. That's great. I appreciate all of you guys, man, that do that, that support people who are not even Steelers fans. You know, you're just that interested in hearing what I have to say. Definitely appreciate you guys for that. So there we are, guys. Terrible Towel Tuesday. We'll swing the towel one time. Here we go, Steelers. And that's going to do it, guys. I'll catch you next week, but stay tuned, obviously, for more content because you guys know I do way more than just Terrible Towel Tuesday. You know what I do on the gaming side. So y'all stay tuned, man. Catch you guys later. Peace.